Good morning. Hello. Who's going to be joining me this morning for some sweet as a peach stamping? So welcome to Stampin' Chat, bit of live crafting with you. If you've just scrolled through and I've popped up in your feed, I'm Kerry Timms. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator in the UK. And this morning I'm going to be stamping using the Sweet as a Peach bundle. Alfie's just come up to say hello. As soon as I start talking, even though he's downstairs, he hears me, wonders what's going on. So I'm just going to enlarge my screen on my Mac just so that I can try and catch up with comments, and hopefully Facebook won't throw me out this week, because when it throws me out, when I go back in, the view is so different. So there's a couple of you on here. Please do say hello if you're joining. It's lovely to know who's here. Morning, Lucianne. How are you doing? Isn't it lovely out there this morning? It's beautiful. Bit of cloud, bit of breeze, lots of sunshine. I've got some washing out this morning. Morning, Ruth. No problem. Totally fine. The order went through, so hopefully that'll be coming. I'm like down to my last couple of packs of basic white cardstock as well. So yeah, I seem to motor through it, and it doesn't matter how much I order, I always get low on it. Same with envelopes as well. So yeah, so today I've got hopefully three projects with you. So I'm not gonna sit here and talk for too long. 3 projects, 1 design, so 1 layout, 1 sketch that I've come up with, 3 different orientations of the card. So I think let's make a start. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my Mac, seeing no comments are coming through on my Mac, which isn't very handy, because once I turn my phone down, I've got a job to read. Alfie's nudging my arm as if to say, hello, down here, I'm here. Don't forget about me. Okay, so let's make a start. I'm excited about these cards today. Another fun fold for you today. Nothing rocket science at all, but just a bit of fun rather than a general opening card. Morning, Lynn. Thanks for stopping by. It's nice to have people to chat with. Yeah, as I was saying, I don't think there's a lot else I need to talk with you about today. I need to go live, come live and talk about kits and things that are happening, but I'm going to try and do that separately, and also about my classes as well in the post. So I will chat with you about that later. So please bear with while you see the palm of my hand, and let's get you down on my desk. Wait for Facebook to catch up. Move everything out of the way. You can see my stamps are mounted already. Get some light on the subject. There's a few of you here. Thanks for stopping by. Let's try and zoom. And I'm going to zoom just once, because every time I fiddle with it, you know what happens? It flips my screen. So hopefully you can see. Let's just, oh gosh, I'm moving myself to the edge of my desk. That's not good. I think what I'm going to do is pull my camera stand over this way a bit. Otherwise I have no working space over towards this side, and then things start falling off the end of the table, which isn't good. Morning, Ellie. You don't have to tell us what you're up to. We know what you are doing this morning because you're on your Tuesday routine. Or now you're going to tell me that you're not cleaning out the guinea pigs. I don't know why I'm not seeing comments on my Mac. Facebook is funny. Keeps changing things, doesn't it? Okay, let's move over a smidge. Tape this down because I think we're pretty straight. So these are the 2 stamp sets I'm going to be focusing on today. My Biggest Wish only arrived last week, so I've only had a little play with it, but I'm just going to use one of the stamps from it today. I'm excited to focus on this. Maybe I will focus on it for next month because it's such a good stamp set, and it's only £16. So it's lovely. It's photopolymer. and I can't open it. You can see I've not really played with it very much at all. So I think I need to mount another one of those from in there as well. And then, of course, the Sweet as a Peach. I will be using some peaches later, but first of all, I'm going to start off with some flowers. So let's move those just to one side and bring in a kit. I'm going to put my card over there so I can see what I'm doing. I've got some bits and pieces cut already, so you've got a little peek of what colours I'm using. But for the first card, this is my colour combo. Sorry, I'm fiddling with my light so I can try and see my screen. So, got 3 of the new in colours here, and then I've just popped in a bit of Highland Heather and then Grey Granite for my base as well. Lynn, you love this set. And yours came last week. Exciting, super fabulous. So let's look what's in my kit. I also had an order come yesterday. So I'm going to be playing with some embossing folders today. I'm going to be using this one, which I think, I didn't double check what it's called, but I think it's called the Greenery embossing folder. It comes as a set of 2. Absolutely love these. Hello, Julie. How are you? Thank you so much for stopping by. It's nice to have you here. And then yesterday I had these 2 little beauties arrive. So these are the checks and dots. And look, so I'm using the dots on the 3rd card that I'm going to create today. So, morning, Jacqueline. I know, it's lovely to have you here, believe me. It's been, I don't know where the time, I keep saying this all the time, and I know we all do. The time is just flying by. It doesn't seem 2 minutes ago. I was here with you last Tuesday. I wasn't able to go live on Saturday because I went away racing with Jason. He was racing at Castle Combe, which is kind of local-ish to us. So I decided to go along with him. It's not that I don't like going and I don't like spending time with him, but when he goes away on the 2-day race meetings, you can't take dogs. It's not like a motocross track. You can't take a dog to a car racing circuit. So we have to leave him behind, obviously not home alone, wouldn't do that, but have to leave him with my parents. So yeah, so that's, we were there at the weekend. So we went on Friday. We were there all day Saturday, back Saturday evening. He won both of his races. He's pretty good. He's had a lot of problems over the last couple of years with car, but I think he's got it sorted now. I think he's nailed the issues. Yeah, so we were back, when did we get back? Saturday evening. And Sunday we worked out in the garden all day. Well, I did. Jason, it was too hot for him out there. He can't bear the heat. So I was just doing bits and bobs, trying to get as much shade as I could, because although most of you who know me, and those of you that have been away on incentive trips with me, you know that I love the sun. But I have changed. The last couple of years, I've changed a little bit. And Sophie had melanoma, and it really made me think about how much I used to sit in the sun and how it's really not good for you. So yeah, I do put good sun cream on now. I didn't used to put very high factor, but I do put lots of sun cream on, really high factors, and try not to stay out there too long. So yeah, I've got quite a bit of gardening done on Sunday. I had that, you know, that feeling, that sense of achievement, like I've really actually got something done today. Got some more beans put out because I had some French beans to go out, and I think I planted some radish, and what else did I put in? Maybe some lettuce. Can't remember now. Oh, the brain, honestly. I mean, that was only a couple of days ago and it's gone already. And did a bit of tidying up. I repotted a load of tomatoes that had outgrown the pots they were in. So anyway, enough waffle. I'm going to start with some flowers. Let's look at what's in my kit. So I've got a basic grey layer. I'm all over the place, aren't I? I'm all over the place today. Let's start with what's in my kit. So I've got basic grey, and it measures 8 inches by 5 3/4. and then I've scored it at 2 and 4. So down the middle and then down the middle of half again. So let's fold those ready. Got an Alfie hair stuck to me in my damaged nail. And then we're just going to fold that back on itself like this. And there's lots of different ways of doing a Z fold, lots of things you can do with it. How's the lighting? I've pulled my light up a bit. Yeah, well done, Jay. He did really, really well. And it's so hot as well. Obviously, racing, hurtling around a track at over 100 miles an hour. You may not believe it, but it is pretty hard work. So he did really well, and he was in a mixed class, so it wasn't just his racing cars, his type of car in there. There were cars with bigger engines, and in both of his races, he came second overall. So he did really well. He was chuffed with himself. So more trophies to bring home. Now, the other piece I've got here measures 8 inches the same, but I've scored it at 3 1/4 and 5 1/4. And then I'm just going to fold and crease. Alfie, that was a car door. That could be the postman. Popping something in the box outside. Honestly, he doesn't miss a trick. And then this, it was the postman. I just heard him go. This one goes over here like this. I'm going to pop that to, no, I'm not going to pop that to one side. Let's put the layers on. So I've got some pieces of cardstock that are going to fit on here. Now, it's quite tricky to get this measurement, and I've only taken off 1/8 of an inch, which leaves a really small border around. You could make it smaller, but basically the height here is 1 3/8. I better just check that. Yeah, 1 3/8. And then there are 3 different pieces, and I'll measure them in case you want to have a go at this, because I didn't get these measurements from anywhere. They came out of my head. So once you've got the measurement, all 3 cards are going to be the same. So this measures, this fresh freesia is 1 3/8 by 3 1/8. And for each of these pieces, these 3, you need to take off a little smidge, because once you do the fold, you lose a bit of this width, and then it's quite tight. So 1 3/8 by 3 1/8. This middle piece is 1 3/8 by 1 7/8. And the third panel is 1 3/8 by 2 5/8. If anybody wants these measurements after, I can put them in the comments. Just let me know or drop me a message. I'm just going to pop these straight down on. I haven't had my Tombow going yet this morning. I've been doing a bit of creating and a bit of cutting as well already. I've got a couple of classes, one Thursday morning and then a Zoom class on Thursday evening. So I've been doing a bit of cutting. Managed to get Tombow on me already. And the middle one. I'm laughing at myself because Katie, who often pops on here, she's like, when we've got a blank piece of card, why do we always turn it over to put glue on the other side? It's force of habit. Can you see how tight this layer is? There isn't much of a gap, so you may want to take off another 1/8, and it will make it look very, very different by doing that. I might have to try a card and make these layers a smidge smaller, so you get more of the basic grey around there. So we've just got this little panel here. I'm just going to wipe my fingers because I've got a bit of Tombow on me and everything will stick. So how are we all doing? Your team trainer kit dropped already. That was amazing. I posted that yesterday. 2nd class. How cool is that? And it came the next day. Thank you, Royal Mail, for being super efficient for a change. Shouldn't say that, should I? But quite often things take longer than you're hoping. Okay, so I'm going to put that to one side. Next, I'm going to start with this big layer here. I'm going to pull in my sponge mat and some grid paper. And although I said I was going to start with the leaf, I'll do that after. I'm going to start with this little trio of flowers. So as I keep harping on about this set, as lovely as the peaches are, it's not all about the peaches. You've got these beautiful flowers that you can create with as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull in my fresh freesia. Let's see if we've got an extra scrap of grid paper. Oh, I've moved my trimmer. Just bear with me. I'm going to trim a bit off of here. Just so that I don't totally dirty this piece. That's stupid, isn't it? It's like layering up pieces of grid paper so you don't get one dirty. Right, what I'm going to do, let me check on my view. I am going to ink up just this flower here, this one. Okay, and I'm going to hover it over my ink pad like this so that I only catch that one flower. And then I'm going to stamp it off. So I'm going to ink it up. Oh, and I caught one. That's what we don't want to do. Let's try that again. Ink it up, stamp it off, and then pop one down. Okay, so just bear with me while I do this. I'm only going to do a few. So it just means we get one of the flowers without having to like cut into our stamps. I think I just caught the end of that one as well then. So I'm just inking up that one corner. I'm conscious that I'm catching that one. Stamping off and then stamping down. I'm just going to wipe it each time and then I know that. And I only want a few of these. We'll have one more. Just poking over the edge there. So I've stamped off so it's much paler. And just put a few flowers on. Then you've got this lovely cute, let's just pop that a little bit more central so we don't get any rocking and rolling. You've got this lovely little teeny ditzy trio of flowers. I'm going to ink up those, stamp them off and just do them randomly in the gaps. So when you're doing a background of images, you need to start with your largest image first. And I'm stamping them off just to keep them pale. Let's do another one there. I think that's enough. I don't want to overcrowd it. It's just to create a subtle background. And then my trusty favourite green, soft succulent. And then again, let's just move that into the middle of my block. This teeny weeny little leaf. Don't know why I'm not getting any comments on here. So annoying. I'm going to ink in the soft succulent, stamp it off and just add it, I did a bit of a rock then, to the larger flowers. As best as I can see because they're quite pale and I'm not very close to my project. I think that's all I need. And then what I like to do is just add a couple around the edge just to bring in a bit of colour. And I feel that this leaf, this teeny weeny leaf, it could work here it could work here in between these 3 flowers, but every time I try stamping it, I'm just not sure. Let me show you what I mean. Here's a scrap. So with that here, if anybody has tried this, let me do it full strength and then you'll see. I'm not really sure where to put this leaf. I don't know whether it kind of goes in there. It just doesn't look right to me. I suppose you could do like a little trio like that. That would be quite pretty. But for now, I'm just going to keep it as I have it. And then I've got this lovely, soft kind of background using the flowers in this set. So what I'm going to do with that straight away is pop that on my insert. So this piece here measures, let's just check, I think it's 3 7/8 by 5 5/8. So it's a bit different to my normal size insert because the width of my card is 8 as opposed to 8 1/4 that it would normally be. You excited to see how this card turns out, Lynn? Yeah, me too. I'm hoping it works. It's always nervy doing a Facebook Live. It's like, and then something goes wrong but you know what? We're only human. We're not robots. If something goes wrong, it doesn't really matter, does it? Okay, next I'm going to add on another layer. So I've got this strip here that's going to go on this panel, but I'm going to emboss it. And I'm going to use this one, which I think is from the greenery. I will look it up for you after. And it measures 1 7/8 by 5 5. So I'm going to pop it in so that I've got over towards the left. So I've got some greenery on the top and on the bottom. Get the right layers on my embossing, Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Oh, such a mouthful. Just going to have to start calling it a die cutting machine because after all, that's what it is. All my plates stuck together. Must have a bit of glue on my new plate. Sorry, I kind of threw that on my desk then, come firing in. And then that layer is just going to go on there like this. So let's put this one down. I also love the reverse side where it's indented. It just gives you a different look. So bit of Tombow around the edge. And as I've said, these layers only leave a very skinny border, so I'd be intrigued to see what it was like with another inch off of these measurements. Okay, so let's now pop in this panel here. Looks a little bit long, but I think it'll be okay. I might just take a teeny smidge off of there. Oh, it keeps throwing me because I've moved my trimmer onto one of my desks. As normally it's behind me, but because I was cutting before I came live, that's a bit better. That fits just, I've just taken a little smidge off of there. And then what I'm going to do is glue just behind this part here. Hope I'm in shot. Am I close enough as well? And then I'm going to pop that down near the top as straight as possible. And I'm kind of following the center line along my grid. Honestly, I use my grid so much. I don't like working without grid paper. It just helps me. And I think because it's part of the OCD where I like things to be just so, that the grid paper helps me to, it makes it feel like things are going straight. Okay, next what we need to do is stick down this part here. And it's simple enough to just add some glue on that panel, and then I keep it folded like that and just put it straight down. Did get a bit of that on my fingers. And I've got white jeans on, so I have to remember today not to wipe Tombow fingers in my jeans. I've got out of a habit. I always used to work with my Stampin' Up apron on. Does anybody wear theirs? That's a question. For those of you that are demonstrators, or those of you that are general crafters, do you wear like a little pinny or an apron? Because I know what it's like. We have the dropsies, don't we? We drop ink pads on us and all sorts. Okay, next, before I do all of the stamping bits, I've pre-cut from the Stitch So Sweetly. Let's bring it in for those of you who might have no idea of what I'm talking about. So these are the Stitch So Sweetly dies. Bit of glue on there. Use these so much, and when the girls in my team, especially Belle, I don't think you're on at the moment, but when you're on catch up you'll probably laugh, and you said, how have you not had those dies yet? How have you waited so long to use them? And I'm not, you know, I use them all the time. Just cut that one there from Evening Evergreen, which is a new in colour. And then what I'm going to do is pull in my trusty blending brush, some grey granite ink, and as you see me do so often, let's use this little rough bit, take a bit off, and then just add a bit of colour. There could be a little bit of crumb cake left on this brush, but I'm not too worried because it will all blend. I just want to add a bit of colour to this layer. These brushes are just fabulous. So that's enough, I think. Let's close up that ink. The more ink pads that are closed, the better. So I've just added a bit of colour to that. And my clean both sides, yeah. Let's do a bit of splatting with my poor crumb cake. Look at it, I need to wipe it. It's going to run out on me soon, I'm sure, for doing this. So there, we've got a nice kind of background, which you've seen me do so many times lately, but I just love it. It's just a great way of taking away the blankness of a white layer. So I'm just going to mount these two up. This basic white layer, by the way, I think is 2 1/8 by 3 1/4. And this is the second size down. So the second one in, and I'll just check that measurement. 2 1/8 by 3 1/4. You can tell I've done loads of these recently. Lynn, you love your apron. That's why what you wanted when you joined. I know, I love my apron. And it's weird because, you know, the pockets were so handy on them as well. I could probably do with those now. Of course, yeah, when I'm at classes and events, I put my apron on. In fact, I'm going to have to dig mine out and give it a wash, give it a spruce up, because I've got my all-day event coming up on Saturday. I'm going to put both of those to one side, which is really exciting. Cannot wait to safely be face-to-face with people. It's going to be fun. So I'm going to start with the lovely big leaf image and pull in my soft, succulent ink. Let's grab some scrap and just ink this. I'm going to ink it up once. It's beautiful. And then I just want part of it. So I'm just going to ink up that section. And stamp it down there. It's going to dirty my grid paper, but so I just want those two pieces. Now the other thing that I want. I need to just clean off my stamp a moment. I'm going to bring this flower back in and I'm going to ink it up with the Fresh Freesia, but then I've pulled in a little dauber and I thought just to highlight the centre of it a bit, I could add a bit of Highland Heather, just a bit. Oh, this one's stiff. You can see it's a colour I don't use that often. And let's do it and show you. So I'm going to ink it in the Fresh Freesia, pick up a little bit of Highland Heather. I want my rough bit for that because I don't want dots everywhere. And then just add a teeny bit to the centres. I don't know if that was enough. We'll see when we stamp it. And we can pop one there. And can you see it just gives that the centre like a more of a purpley tinge. So let's just stamp that off a couple of times. Back into the Fresh Freesia. And then a little bit of Highland Heather. Hope you can actually see me doing that. Because I'm looking at what I'm doing here, I'm not looking to see whether I'm actually... Yeah, I think you can see in shot. So I've got 2 sets of flowers. Let's just give that a clean off. Let it dry for a moment. And now I can cut these out. So I've got the dies. I'll show you the dies for those of you that haven't seen them. Just have a drink of water a second. And bring in my plates and some washi tape. So these are the dies. So they're really good value, £21, got 17 dies in here. You've got lots of little ones that you need to keep track of, but you've got the main ones that cut out the peaches and the lovely foliage. I've not used this one yet. Need to create with that one, but I've used all of the others. So they're lovely. And the whole bundle, let me grab my catalogue. I think it's something crazy like £34. Yes, £34 for stamps and a set of dies. Amazing value. You're going to get so much use out of this. Right, we've only got one die for the flowers, but thankfully it cuts out all 3 in one go, which is really clever. I can't do that one yet either. I need to do that after. So let's just line those up the best we can. I do find this big leaf a little tricky to line in. You've got so many points of leaves that you're looking at. Look at my plate. It's been bent, curved both ways. Poor thing, it doesn't know what to do with itself. It started to crack on the edges, but I've had a lot of use out of this one. So sometimes when I cut this one, I don't get a very even. That's pretty good. You can see I've gone off a bit there, but to be honest, I'm not worried about that. Let's put this one back in. And just cut out, just doing the bottom part of this one. Got some flowers. So I was down watering the garden. I can't find my top plate. Down watering the garden at before 7 this morning, which is nothing unusual for me. But I'm getting to the end of the water that's left in my water butts. I've got 3 empty now, so I thought ran down this end of the garden, turned on the water because we've got a hose pipe that runs from this end of the garden right the way up to my greenhouse and on my kitchen garden, on my veggie garden. and turned it on, and when time I got back up there, all the water was spurting out of the connector on the end of the hose. It split, obviously from the frost maybe, so I couldn't use the hose pipe. I did have enough water in the water butt, but it just takes ages to fill the watering can. So I was like panicking this morning, because I'm always like, get really anxious about what I've got to do. I like to just get on and do the job in hand. And I'm always thinking like, I've got to do this and I've got to do that, a bit like all of us. But yeah, everything is kind of growing at the moment, as you all know. Okay, the next thing I need are some small flowers, but I've die cut some of those ready in my little pot here. So I've done some of those ready. And then I'm going to take from the Biggest Wish stamp set, because I only wanted a small greeting, I'm going to use the Hello, which for some strange reason, whenever I see that word, I go, hello. Crazy, I know, but we've all got these things, haven't we, that we do. And then people look at you and roll their eyes and are like, is she just mad? The answer is yes. Okay, so for this greeting, oh, I feel like I've got ink pads everywhere. I'm going to use the Evening Evergreen just so that it pops a little more, because my greenery is in Soft Succulent. I want my greeting to pop out a bit more. So let's snip that one off. So there are no dies that cut out these words or anything. Just, move those out of the way. And I'm just going to trim around this one. Yeah, so where I was going to with my water butts being almost empty, and they have lasted me a long time. I've got 2 big ones down there on my greenhouse and my shed, and 2 small ones, and the water's done me very well up until now, but dare I say it, we could be having some of that wet stuff towards the end of the week. So make the most of the lovely dry weather, everybody, because, you know, hopefully we could be lucky and it could just rain at night. That would be good, wouldn't it? Rain at night and fine weather in the day. So I've just trimmed around my hello. And now I think we're ready to build up. So we've got this lovely, it does fold flat, almost. You have a little bit of a bow on it. We're going to pop this panel up here like this. So I only want glue on, let's think about it, the top and this side down here. And then I'm going to pop it just centrally in that panel. I'm annoyed I can't read any comments. I can see them on my phone, but not on my Mac. And it's not ideal to see them on my phone, really. So we just got this little pop-up. It's a Z fold. And then we're going to bring in these flowers. And I like to use the end of my Take Your Pick tool or the lid of your Tombow just to give the flowers. I find the Take Your Pick tool really, because it's got quite a small end, it just gets right in there and really creases the cardstock. So let's go with just 5 flowers for now. And I'm going to pop a couple of dimensionals. I feel like this is going really slow. And that I'm going to be boring you all to tears. See, what I'm feeling is it feels like it's taken a long time. I've done a bit of prep for the other cards. But I'm happy to be here as long as you guys are. I Just wish I could read your comments on my Mac. I don't want to refresh because then it will go into that different view so that I can't see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to leave it as it is. I can catch comments as they pop up. They come up in my peripheral vision on my phone, so... Oh, thank you, Lynn. You're so sweet. So what I do with these is I just pop... So I'm going to put a flower where I'm popping these. And I don't know where they're supposed to go, but I always put the largest flower down here at the bottom. Medium one up here, and then the smallest one up here, just overlapping the vine, the leaf, because there's a gap under here. Oops, can you see that gap? So you need to hide that. So the stamp actually, there are gaps in it so that to help you decide where to put your oh, brain, work, for goodness sake, work to help you decide where to put your flowers. Honestly, I'm feeling it lately, guys. That OLD word. Yesterday, I mean, I was awake early again this morning, but yesterday I was awake at 5. Wide awake, which I don't mind too much. You know I'm an early bird. But I was so tired last night. I was falling asleep on the sofa, which isn't good. I hate it when that happens. And we were watching Line of Duty. So as soon as I start nodding, I let Jay know, because if he's not aware that I'm nodding, then I miss half of what's going on. And there's nothing worse than someone keeps saying, what happened? Why are they doing that? Because then you get like, weren't you watching? It's like, no, I was falling asleep. And that was probably just before 10. I think we went to bed about 10:15. So, which isn't late. I know that's early for some of you, but 10:30 is late night for me. Lead such an exciting life. But it's because I'm up early. I'm going to pop my little hello down here like this, and then I thought it'd be nice to add in a bit more, a bit of extra floral down here. So nearly at the end of another sheet. How do I get through these so quickly? So I took some bits away when I went racing with Jay. I took some bits and pieces away with me to do, which is really great that we can do that. So if you're going off on your little holly bobs, it's good to take some bits and bobs with you to keep you occupied. Where's my Tombow? There. So can you see what I mean about the gaps? So you've got a gap here in the image. So that's crying out for a flower to go there. So we'll put that medium-sized one down over that. Let's straddle it a bit. And then we'll just add another one in next door to it. Bit more. And tuck it under. Like that. And now I want 2 more little centres. I cut these out ready just because they're so teeny tiny. Just like to get the middles out. And then I find it easier just to pop a bit of glue in the centre of the flower. It's always good to pick them up the right way as well. This Take Your Pick tool is a lifesaver. And there we go. A little Z fold. It stands up nicely. You could do your greeting or whatever you want to write on the inside just behind here so that it's hidden. Or you could put an extra panel on the back and do all of your, you know, stamp another greeting. Or to be honest, this is just kind of a hello card, but you could still stamp happy birthday on the inside. Or like I said, do another panel on the back. So that's the first one. It's quite proud at the moment, but once you recrease, if you go in and like recrease these pieces, it will sit a lot flatter, like that. By the time it's been in an envelope and been through the postal system, it will probably be pretty flat when it reaches its destination. So that's the first card. So now we're going to do something the same but different. So exactly the same layers, exactly the same pieces. And I have got some flowers ready to save time. But I'm changing up the colours slightly. So I'm switching around the soft succulent with the evening evergreen, and I'm going to add in, rather than my plain panels, I'm going to add in some of the in colour DSP. So again, my base is 5 3/4 by 8, and then it's scored at 2 and 4. And then that just gives us an easy Z fold. And then the panel that goes across measures 1.5 by 8. Let's just check I've got the right length. And then it's scored at 3 1/4 and 5 1/4. And let's just give that a good crease. And have it all so that it's in line. You don't want it to be like crooked like that. You want them all to be in line. And then that's going on here like this. It looks a bit short. That's slightly worrying. Definitely looks a bit short. The beauty of live crafting. Let's put these panels on and hope that they fit. Let's put these on first. So exactly the same measurements as before. So they are 1 3/8 deep. And cannot remember. Can you see how tight that is? I should have measured that first and taken off a little smidge. But I think because it's going to be a little short, this one, I don't think it's going to show too much. And what I mean by that, measure it first, pop it on. See, I've got quite a good gap on that one. And before you put your adhesive on the back, Tombo's getting a bit sticky, then just trim off a little smidge. A little smidge. I love the terms that we use, the scientific terms. Again, let's just hold that one over. See, that one is quite tight. Can you see my fold line is here? So what I'm going to do is just pop it in my trimmer and trim off a teeny weeny smidge. And it's called a smidge because it's no such measurement. It's smaller than a 1/16 of an inch, and I work in inches. Now, if you worked in centimetres, you might be able to get a better measurement than using the word smidge. But sadly, for some of you, I work in inches. That makes me old school, doesn't it? I've got the sniffs now, which isn't good when you're live. Okay, so that's the panel that's going on there. Let's emboss this layer again. So I'm just going to pop it in, have it over on the left side, run it through my machine. So we just have to take out, when we're embossing with these thinner embossing folders, we have to take out the number 2 plate from the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And when we're using the 3D texture embossing folders, we have to use this grey plate, the number 4 plate, to give the layers that we need. And it's not complicated. Once you've got the machine, you soon learn which layers go with what. So I'm going to check that fits first. That one's okay. Let's put that down and then we know it's there. Oops, that was quite a bit then. Let's steal a bit of that and put it up there. Like so. So today, guys, the application is open for the Artisan Design team, and I am definitely going to be going for it. So that's exciting, but first I have lots of other things I need to do around here. As always, I keep myself busy. Right, let's get some bit of background stamping on here. I've already stamped my main flowers, but let's do this bit of background stamping again. So I'm going to focus on this little flower. Where's my scrappy bit? Just check you're in shot. Yeah. Ink up, stamp off, stamp down. So I'm just catching one of the flowers from this little trio and just randomly, I think I caught a bit then, stamping a little bit of a background on this basic white layer. So we'll have a bit up there. Let's do a little bit there. Okay, so the same as I did before, and then I'm going to pull back in this little flower, the little trio. Thanks, Ruth. I think I need a bit of luck for it, and I'm just going to randomly, so I'm inking up, stamping off, popping it down on my layer because I want it to be subtle. I don't want this background to stand out too much. Let's just add a couple on the edge. I think that's enough, and then we'll bring in the leaves again. So these tiny little leaves, look where I've really pressed that into the ink. That is not a good look for your stamp before you start. So I'm going to take some of that off. And then all I want to do is add some leaves. I've got all my ink pads stacked up here. And just add a bit of greenery. And although I'm switching my colours, which you'll see in a moment, I'm keeping this background quite subtle. Let's just do that one as well. And then we'll add some around the edge. Just as if the pattern was carrying on. I think that's okay. One more at the top up here. Okay, so we've just got this lovely layer with a soft background on it, which is beautiful on its own. You know, if you were a really simple stamper, you could just literally stamp a hello on there, mat and layer this with the fresh freesia, soft succulent onto a basic white base, and that would be a beautiful card in itself. but onto this complex project of she who doesn't do simple stamping. That's what I need to do, guys, is challenge myself to some simple stamping. Something I find really tough. And for those of you that have been coming to my classes all of these years, if I rocked up at a class with some really basic cards for you, you'd wonder what on earth was going on. Okay, let's bring in this little layer and my blending brush again. Not basic grey granite. Did I say basic grey earlier? I might have. Grey granite. And let's just add some colour to this little layer. Got quite a harsh bit up at the top there, but it's going to be covered. That's fine. Can you see I've got quite a harsh bit there? I've even got a bit of a brush line. I think that might be a bit of adhesive that's got on there. Right, let's move that to one side. Do a little bit of splatting. Just because I like the look. And then this time I've gone for the soft succulent die cut piece from the Stitch So Sweetly. So I've kind of gone opposites. And I've pre-stamped and cut. Full Blue Peter style. Here's one I did earlier, just to save a bit of time because otherwise you're watching me do the same thing. So I'm going to layer. Let's put this on. I can put this on now. Thinking loudly. I was going to layer it onto my card, but we can add this now. So we'll just pop. I might put another one up there. Oop. Oh, had to, didn't it? It had to. Going to add another one up there just so that it balances it, and then we'll pop that up at the top like that. Add in some flowers. I do like the fresh freesia with the hint of Highland Heather in the middle. Just to give it, that one shows it better. Just gives it that kind of depth, which when you look at a natural flower, that's kind of the look you get. So let's pop in our flowers. So we'll have a large one here, followed by medium. Oh, and then small. Like that. Is that Tombow there? How did you get there? Okay. Have a quick drink. Are you all still with me? Lost a couple of you. And we'll put in the centerpieces on these. So tinsy bit of Tombow in the middle. Oh, didn't think that one was stuck. None of them are sticking today. I'm not holding them for long enough. Gosh, that's a noisy bike. They never land the right way up, these flowers. think I need to change the end of this. Let's give it a bit of a... Let's mould it into a better looking shape. Just want the centre out of that one. That's it. Oops. And let's quickly stamp another hello, and I'm going to keep this one in the same colour. Just trim around that one really quickly. So I'm excited to properly play with this stamp set, The Biggest Wish, because it's lovely. You can layer up the larger greetings words with these smaller ones on the top. Looks really fun. Really handy set to have as well. Quickly trim. And it's going on a white background, so if you're not too confident with your fussy cutting, it's not going to show anyway. Let's pull that off. Pop it down, put it over that side. And then these two are going to go in a minute. So let's bring back our base. So exactly the same, but I'm going to put this in a different place. Now I'm hoping it's going to, oh, it does work. Can you see it? It's a little bit short, but because we've got the grey overhang. So before you stick everything, before you stick your layers on and you fold this, make sure it fits nicely either side so that you don't want a white gap like that showing. You could do if it was even each edge, it wouldn't matter, but it would bother me if it was one edge and not the other. So we just need to put Tombow here. We'll have it quite close to the bottom. Let's check we're straight. Don't want any white showing. And then we'll add Tombow to that back panel. And then hold that down and then just fold up the card. And then it will naturally, can you see that's moved across a bit? Stay there. Where's my bone folder? And just give that a good press down. So there we go. I love how springy it is. And then we're literally going to pop on this panel. Have I done that the wrong way? I have. The beauty of Alive, guys. What were we saying? But it's fine. It will work. I've put the panels around the wrong way, I think. I should have done that the other way round. That's probably why it didn't fit very well. But it'll still work. It's just a little bit tight over this side. So this is like the upside down version of what we did on the other card. So this is where it won't look as good because this panel isn't as wide. But I can show you on my original. But to be honest, it makes no difference. Really, it just means this panel isn't as wide. It still works exactly the same. And then as we did before, let's pop this in at the top. Let's start a new sheet. Happy days. Love a new sheet. Yeah, so I used almost a whole sheet when I was away at the racetrack preparing some bits and bobs for Saturday. and used almost a whole sheet. So I'm going to pop that one up here. Another noisy motorbike. Everybody's out on their bikes today. I don't blame them, it's good weather out there. And we'll put another one in there as well. So pop one up there. Bring him down a bit lower. Just hold that for a minute because they've got a tendency to move. We'll just wedge one in there. And then a couple more flowers. They don't want to come out. In the centres. Like that. Oops! The end of my Uji flip just fell out. Into the ink I will add. Stuck to my finger. Take the centres out of these. Need to pick it up the right way and then never land the right way. And there we go, another one done. In my world, the same but different. Let me bring in my original. And I can see exactly what I did by putting that panel. Can you see how this distance, it still worked because the whole panel was the same width when we cut it originally. But they just look slightly different. I think I prefer that look. Let me bring in the other one. Just so that you can see by putting this panelled section, one at the top, one at the bottom, how it does turn it into a different view. So same cards, same measurements, just laying everything down differently. Right, I'm going to close up a couple of inks. I've got one more quick project. I am been a long time today, but I have done a little bit of stamping ahead. Don't need that. Don't need that. Let me bring it in colour combo. Oh, a bit of Calypso Coral as well, just while I put away what I don't need. Clean off what I do. What have I stamped already? Not a lot. I thought I had. Okay. I think we are good to go. So I am using, right, let's move these out of the way. I'm really pleased with how they turned out. Really pretty. And kind of not feeling like you're using the peaches. Final card. Here's some bits and pieces. I've done a bit ahead of time. So I have chosen Mossy Meadow, Pale Papaya, and then we've got a bit of Cajun Craze on this one. Exactly the same card again. Exactly the same pieces. I'm double checking. Bear with me. My nose is running. Not good. And my tummy is rumbling, just for a change. I did have a coffee right before I came live. I thought that'll keep me going. Okay, and then exactly the same panel. I'm going to make sure I stick it round the right way this time. And I'm going to do this one a little bit different to the others. So another orientation. I'm not sure if it works. I'm not sure if it's the right. You'll see when I get to it. Let's give that a good crease. Now I want the longer panel at the front. That's what I have to remember this time. So for my pieces, I've used the new Dotty embossing folder from the Checks and Dots. I'm excited to use that one. I think that's great. It's like a really good basket weave almost. And I've cut all my pieces and I've ran them through the Checks and Dots, but I just thought I would run the front panel, can't open it, through as well. So I like to make sure that everything is lined up. When you're using dots or anything that's got like a pattern that's continuous, I think it's always good to make sure you're lined up like with a row, otherwise it can make your card look a bit topsy-turvy, if you know what I mean. So let's run that through. So that's my front panel. And I'm going to pop this down ready. It's lovely from the reverse as well. Lovely simple pattern that would work for lots of different occasions. This would be a fun one for children as well. For children projects, you know, baby cards and things. So pop that panel on. And then we'll put these pieces on as well. Oh gosh, my plate just moved and made me jump. I'm going to just trim a little bit off. Let's check the others. That one is good. That one is good. I'm just going to take a slither off of there. Because as I say, when you're doing the fold, when you've got the fold, you lose a bit of width. So let's just glue these down. Pop them on. So this is obviously, well, it's not obvious to some of you maybe, but pale papaya cardstock, which I absolutely love. Finding it really hard to pull myself away from the new in colours. Oops. And this is a little out of my comfort zone, using such a deep colour for my base. The Mossy Meadow. I love Mossy Meadow, don't get me wrong, but it's quite dark for me, quite a dark one. So I'm just going to put that to one side for the moment. Let's bring in, I'm going to do exactly the same with this panel, but I'm going to use the pale papaya rather than before I use the grey granite. So let's just pick up some colour. Got to be careful what you're picking up as well off of, like off of here. I could pick up a bit of the grey granite that I used previously. So I'm just going to gently add in a bit. And also when you're stamping off with flowers and things as well, you can actually pick up colour from your scrappy bit. So just a bit of peachiness with the pale papaya, a little bit more at the bottom. Oh, that was quite a lot more. It'll be fine. It will be fine. And then a bit of splat. Or a lot of splat. Like that. So a really quick, simple way of adding a bit of colour. Thanks, Ellie. Glad you like the cards. Still have no comments whatsoever on my MacBook. Nothing showing. I think it must be a bit of a Facebook thing. If you're just hopping in, it would be lovely to know who's there. Please do say hello. And say hi, hang out with us for a little bit. I'm on the final card now, which you're all going, yay, she's nearly done. Can go and get a coffee. And what I'm going to do is ink up, just pull in my Calypso Coral. This is an old style ink. And I've also got Calypso Coral Dauber. You're still there, Lynn. Lovely, thank you. I understand, I know what it's like. We start watching someone live and then something happens or we get distracted, and quite often I have to come back to a live and rewatch, sometimes twice, because that's just what happens. So as last week, I'm going to ink up, let's bring this in so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to ink up my peach. Then I'm going to pick up with my Dauber a little bit of Calypso Coral and just add a tiny bit of blush around the edge, and it just gives that lovely peach look. Let's just stamp that off, re-ink it. Oh, yeah, it's fine. I've cut one already, and I don't need to reapply any ink to that. There should be enough on there. So that we've got 2 peaches. Let's see if I've got another cut in my little pot of peaches. I've got a couple that I've already cut, so rather than running that through, I will save those for after. And then with the leafy image, I'm going to use the Mossy Meadow just to tie in, and just stamp 2 directly down like that. Might have one of those. Yep, I've got a couple of those done as well. So I've already cut those out. Oh no, look, that is not a happy accident. Definitely not. Off you come. In the bin for you. I've got one spare. Just as well. See, this is what happens. So I'm going to I'll cut these out after the live. I won't be throwing those away. I'll be using them. Let us close up inks just for a moment. Push them out of the way. What else do I need to stamp? Let's bring in a very skinny strip of white, and I've got a little offcut here, and I thought for this one I'm going to need that Mossy Meadow again. I would use the Friend, so I'm going to ink it in the Mossy Meadow. Let's use this bit down here. And then also It's Your Day. I've got ink on me there. So Friend, It's Your Day. And then on this little skinny strip, just stamp that. Oh, stuck to it like that. It's not very strong. Let's do another. My Mossy Meadow ink pad is a little bit dodgy. It's a bit better. It looks a bit strange. Can you see? I don't know why it is, but it does still perform, so I've just kept it as it is. Let's just snip off that. Cut around the Friend. Really quickly. You don't have to be too particular. Just kind of go in and out, up and down, wiggle about a bit. Nothing too precise about fussy cutting. It honestly looks fine. Like on the bottom, I tend to kind of just go up and down, not even really following the line of the image. Because once it's down, you don't really look, you don't notice it. So we've got Friend, It's Your Day, What else do I need? Oh, I've already got some flowers that I've stamped, so I will cut those out quickly. And then we just need our bit of foliage, which if I chop these off, they'll go back in my little, oh, knocked that then, sorry guys, in my little pot. I just want this lovely one, but I need it in the mossy meadow this time. So we'll have a large one there. And then just the end piece. Am I going to get that on? Let's do it that way. There. Let me just chop that so that you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to cut a whole one and then part of one. And flowers. So we need this one. And this one. So it's really sweet because the swallows are nesting under the carport, and the mother is actually sat on the nest quite a lot of the time at the moment, so we try not to go under there too much because we don't park a car under there. But it is the entrance to the boiler room, so we do have to go in and out of there. But yeah, and they get really protective as well. So last year they nested twice, which is the first time we've been here that they've done that. And then when we looked it up, we think they're swallows. What's the other bird that's like a swallow? They look very similar, but they've got a different... Anybody know? They've got a different tail. Can't think. The brain, guys, the brain just... It doesn't want to function at the moment. I don't know what is going on. It just won't function. I think there's too many things going on in around my head at the moment. Classes this week and event on Saturday. I've got my second COVID jab tomorrow. And I've got a lovely Zoom meeting. Lots going on this week. Let's just run that bottom one through. Yeah, so I think last year they had 5 babies or 3 babies. But we were waiting and waiting for the little ones to fly the nest, because the first year we were here, one fell out, sadly, and we did try and save it, and we Googled it and it said not to touch it, and that there's usually a reason why they're not in the nest. The mother kind of boots them out if they're not very healthy, doesn't she? Which is quite sad. But yes, we're excited to see how many are coming this year. The joys of getting old. You appreciate so many more things. I don't know why I've done that. It's because I'm waffling. I didn't need all of that. I only needed this bit. Never mind. I've got that one for something extra now. Okay, final thing we need to do is just add some background onto here. So pale papaya. This will be really quick. And again, like I've done previously, excuse my scrawly measurements, let's use that side. I'm just going to ink up the one flower, stamp it off, and just randomly pop a few on my project, on my layer. Don't need too many. It's just a nice subtle background. Let's have one there, and maybe half of one there, and a bit there. That will do. And then again with the little trio of flowers. We are nearly done, guys. I'm just randomly inking, stamping off. Did I stamp off then? Adding some little flowers to this layer. One more down here and then we're done. And then again, exactly the same as we've done before with the mossy meadow this time though. Just on the large flowers. This is quite dark, but I quite like how it looks. Makes it pop. My flowers are so pale underneath, I've got a job to see when I'm hovering where the flower actually is. This would look really nice with some splats on as well. So I think that's enough. Just a couple of double stamp off. A couple of bits of green leaf around the edge. And we'll leave it at that. So we've just got another background created. And let's put it all together. So let's start with the insert. Oh gosh, look at that. I think I must have had 8. No, is that ink maybe on my grid? So this layer's going down first. Then, so this time, where's my bone folder? Let's give this a really good crease here. Made a bit of a line there, but that will be fine. And this panel, I'm going to put here, like that. So let's just add glue at that point. Up near the top. Let's just check it fits. It's got a bit of an overhang there, but I can snip that. I should have checked it first, but I can snip that after. Bit of Tombow on this piece. And then just fold the card down and let it sit kind of naturally. Hi Vicky, how are you doing? Nice of you to join us. So I've been, what's the time? I've been waffling for far longer than I should be. And I did do a bit of work ahead of time. I just want to snip off that overhang. But lots of inspo, hopefully. So this time my card is going to sit like this. And it does, it's not going to do it now, is it? It will stand, once I get my front panel on, it will stand this way. Let's get everything on. So, Tombow at the bottom and the left. And then we're going to have it down over this side. I love the pale papaya with the mossy meadow. Love these two colours together. Just adding some dimensionals to the back of my peaches. And we'll pop these down on this layer. And then just pop in. Let's just pick up one of these. Just going to pop that half in and half out. And the other one can go there. And then we can just pop in the little leaf. Like that. Just lift that up a bit. You can see where we're going. Let's add some more dimensionals behind my friend. Best to put one. Oh, where are you going to go? No, let's leave you there like that. I was going to put one in the middle, but I think it would get in the way. And I think we'll have you kind of just hanging in there. And then a couple of dimensionals behind the It's Your Day. And these just fit on my little skinny strips without popping out behind. Friend, it's your day. Or you could have It's Your Day, friend. And to finish, we'll add in this little bit of greenery up in the top corner, and then we're going to hope that it stands up and performs. It's not an ideal design for it to be standing this way, but I was playing around and thought it might work. Let's just add that like that, and then pop in these little flowers. Give them all a squash in the middle. Vicky, you weren't sure about this set. Yeah, it's a bit, you know, it could be a bit of a Marmite one where some people will just love it. Some people won't go for a stamp set that's kind of fruity based because they're kind of like, what am I going to do with it? You know, am I just going to stamp a peach and then just every card is going to be the same because it's going to have a peach on it? But I just think, I don't think I want all of those. I think there is just so many different things, and that's what I'm trying to show, is that it's not just all about the peaches. Obviously this card is, but if you catch up with the replay, see I've been using the flowers, and I will share those cards again in a moment. Using the flowers as well. I've just die cut earlier. Come out. These two little flowers in the cinnamon cider, not cinnamon cider, Cajun craze, just to make them pop a little and to blend in with the scallopy bordered die that I've used. And then we're going to hope and pray that it will stand up. Bit too much Tombow there, but that will dry clear. You could add a gem in the middle. So there we go. So another way with that Z fold card, let's crease the edges down again and see if it will work. See, it does stand. Can you see that? If you've not got a slidey surface, and once it's been folded down for a bit, let's crease that one as well. I don't want to flatten my embossing. That will probably help it. So it will stand. Here's the one I did earlier. It kind of stands a bit better. So yeah, I was kind of pleased with that because I thought it's still a Z fold, but we've got 3 different ways of how it looks. Let's bring in the other projects. So Vicky, this is what I was saying about, how am I going to do this? About the using the flowers and making it look something completely different. So thank you all so much for joining me. I do have a Sweet as a Peach class, online class and class in the post that I've now got over on my events website. I need to do the PDFs, and I'm going to run through, maybe do a couple of lives that will add to YouTube showing you the projects and the options. But basically when you get a PDF, you will get an email link, and it's a very lengthy PDF. So you've got step by step. This is my hand pen petals one. Step-by-step instructions with all the measurements. So it's not just like basic, you've got photographs there. The PDFs will be £5, but there will also be an option to purchase the video link as well, which is £5. But if you purchase the kits in the post, if you're local, if you're in the UK or any of our European markets, not European markets for the kits in the post, but if you're in the UK and you purchase the actual kits of my classes, then you will get the PDF emailed automatically with it, along with a link to the video. So, but I will talk more about that separately. So hopefully you can see how these all fold. So one design laid out 3 different ways. Hope you've enjoyed that. Another look into the Sweet as a Peach. Next, I'll be back probably with Plentiful Plants, because that's the other stamp set that I'm focusing on. Vicky, you like these? Yeah, with the new in colours. So we've got the Fresh Freesia, Evening Evergreen, and the Soft Succulent. So I will save this onto here. I will upload it to YouTube as well, and I will get some closer photographs done of these. So thank you all for stopping by. Thank you, Ruth. If you joined halfway through, don't forget you can catch up on the replay. I don't think I've got anything else to chat with you about. I need to do something with the kits. Also, talking of my peach class, this is my peach class in the post. So we've got a couple of cards, we've got a nice card box, and we've got a box of tags as well. So, and that's £15 for kits posted. So no stamped images, of course, but options to add on stamps and dies if you want to, but you get all die cut pieces in there and anything that's embossed as well. So right, I need to go now. I've got loads to do. I need to have breakfast, which is turning into brunch. Thank you all for stopping by. It's been lovely to have your company, and I will catch up with you all very soon. So take care and bye for now.